Welcome to the John Sue and Michael Rossmer Video Battleathon. Today's topic, we're going to talk about parents' harsh words of criticism. They try to raise us right, and when we don't listen to them, it's frustrating. They get frustrated and they say, mean stuff, I guess. And it's not mean stuff as a personal attack. It's just more shock, their disbelief and shock in what their kid is doing. So growing up, I have to say, I was a terrible, really bad kid. And for those of you who knew me in junior high and high school, you knew how bad I really was. And the weird thing was this, is usually when you're bad and do bad things, it's because you come from a life of poverty. And weird thing is, I didn't come from a poor family. We came to Canada from Vietnam and we started from the bottom, yes. But we were never poor, like ghetto poor. You know, like growing up in the projects, Compton poor. We always kind of had quite an average life and actually had quite a nice home, you know, in junior high. For whatever reason, you know, I was the rich boy living ghetto. I liked all that bad stuff. It was just a natural attraction. I had an affinity towards it. Going back to that, yeah, it was a lot of stress for my parents. And when I think back about what I put them through, yeah, it makes me shiver. And geez, I wish I don't have a kid like me. And I remember my parents would be so frustrated with me and so amazed about the stupid stuff that I would do. They had this one line in Vietnamese, and it was the sentence, "Mày không sợ chết," which means, "Are you not afraid to die?" But really the actual translation that's the literal translation. It actually means, aren't you scared of anything? Are you stupid? Like, what are you thinking? That's what it actually means. And the crazy thing was, all the things that I've done, you know, in my youth and whatnot, even up into my childhood, it never made any sense to anybody else, but it made sense to me. And how it's helped me now in my adulthood is when you're too stupid to actually realize what's actually going on and you stay committed to your goal, you're pushing through no matter what. You're oblivious to the failures. You're oblivious to everyone talking shit. You're oblivious to anything external besides your own opinion. And the crazy thing is this, is when you believe in yourself so much that no matter what else is happening in your life and you power through, it really brings you to a place, a mental space or a soulful space where you really shed away the bullshit. Like, what I believe is negativity, when negative shit happens in your life, it actually forces all the bullshit in your life to leave, and it leaves you naked and alone with yourself. Because, you know, people who have failed for a long time, you kind of come to a point in your life when you realize, when you feel that you only have yourself to rely on. So when you have only yourself to rely on, you put your feet to the ground and you do your best. Or sometimes you lay down and get your ass whooped. Depends on where you are. I've done both. You know, I've had to lay down, get my ass whooped, ask for help from friends and family to only rise up. come again. But because my internal voice was so strong, I didn't have to ask for help for a really long time, because no matter what was going on, I had a commitment to get shit done, and no matter what was going to happen, I was going to power my way through it. But powering your way through life, you'll eventually hit a brick wall. And once you hit that brick wall, and you're like, shit, you kind of, how we say, surrendered, because you realize you're over your head. There's bigger things happening to you that is out of your control. That's when you surrender and become very vulnerable and open, and you learn to, you learn to consciously reach out and ask for help. And I think that's the true, the true mindset or behavior of true strength, is when you choose to be weak, to lay back, to lose this battle, to win the war. You've heard that saying, I've heard that saying lots. To actually live through that, it's a psychological trauma, but do it enough times, I'll tell you, there's nothing more empowering than choosing to rise up and kick ass, or to lay back, let them win this, but to come back on the round 2 and, lose the battle to win the war. So going back to, how did my parents always saying, aren't you scared to die? Or aren't you scared to do what you're doing? Or too stupid? And yeah, I was always so oblivious and stupid to what other people would say, and my parents stressed the shit out of them. But, powering through my failures and forcing things through to actually get to the pot of gold, right? And getting to that pot of gold, as anyone does, they set the next pot of gold, and then you go through another failure. But what I'm learning about failure is, the more committed and strong you are, the more self-confidence you have and belief in yourself you have, the more stubborn you are, and the longer the learning cycle. And that's kind of what I'm driving through now, is what my parents taught about me being ignorant is it created deep learning cycles, because I was so stubborn and oblivious to what was going down. It took me a really long time to learn certain things. So whatever I was really naturally good at, I excelled at. But my blind spots that were huge, that were, really what was holding me back, I was so blind to that it kept me prisoner, and I couldn't progress. So I was progressing massively in certain areas, but I was getting slaughtered in other areas, because the disparity of how much I believed in myself and wasn't open, and I was open to feedback, but I never let that, my opinion mattered so much more than everybody else's opinion. I listened to what they said, but I didn't hear what they meant. So really, anyone watching this video is for people who are stuck in the failing stage of life, or people who are getting haterade, or people talking shit about them. Here's my perspective. I've lived through that for a very long time. Like, my cycle of suck shit was 12 years. Some of you probably going longer, some of you going shorter. But I think it's very valuable to hear the story about how your parents kind of talk trash to see the development of you, and to help you grow as a person, and to see how the cycle of failure actually goes, and that is necessary, and it's actually quite interesting after you're out of it. While you're in it, I'm not gonna lie, suck balls, lick balls. But I gotta say, my mastery and my best material and my most humble and honest stuff was developed in the shithole. So thank you for watching this video about how my parents used to say không sợ chết, and I would always reply to them, đúng rồi, không sợ chết đâu. And they would always get pissed off, because my reply was, no mom, I ain't scared to die, I'm ready to bet the house. Because really that's what I did, is I bet everything on me. I did have some wins, but probably a lot more losses. But it's a good time, gotta say. I'm having fun getting my ass whooped. Doesn't feel good until I'm out of it, but it does feel good when I do overcome it.